Joining us now to discuss is Bruce LeVell, senior RNC media surrogate and former executive director of the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. Bruce, thank you so much for joining this evening. Listen, I think you're the perfect person to begin this discussion with because you're from Atlanta. I know you come from a family who is steeped in the civil rights movement. It seems to me that where the American left is today is the exact diametric opposite of what your forebears, of what MLK, of what a lot of really brave Americans were calling for in decades past.
Yeah. Happy Monday, everyone. Listen, you know what, Steve, when I first saw this article, I'm like, is this real? It is like, look, you're right. I'm in Atlanta. I text my buddy, Tyler Perry, said, Tyler, I got a new movie for you, Diary of an Angry White Man, sponsored by fake CNN, special guest, fake CNN. And this is just crazy. You would not believe this. It's like you have to pinch yourself. It's like, are they really doing this? You know, are they really trying? And yes, they are. And Steve, you know, we talked about this last time. You and I spent a lot of time on that fake network out there fighting for the good cause, you know, for years. And I'm sitting here like, man, what happened to the good old days where we could sit up there, even if it was 4 against 1, Steve, we could agree to disagree. But to spew this rhetoric out here and this incendiary mess out here, it's just so disheartening to the country. And listen, this John Blake, that's right, viewers, go look him up. He wrote this article. Look him up on Twitter and comment. He calls himself senior journalism. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't journalism. This is fakeism. This is noism. This is like one of those journalist degrees I think that he got down at the local convenience store that he got on Amway. I don't know what's going on with this team, but this is crazy. You're absolutely right, bro.
Yeah, you know, Bruce, the left wants everything to be about race. It's constantly that, whether it's a news story. I mean, take a look at what happened in Wisconsin last night, the tragedy there. If it had been shifted in opposite races, this would have been all about race. CNN and MSNBC would have been all over it. You see them in some ways trying to make some excuses for this monster. How do we change that? How do we get past that so it's not always constantly about race?
Well, if CNN is on, this is what you move your hand over there and you cut it off and turn to Newsmax. How about that one? But no, cut it off, really. But listen, the scary thing is that once again, you take our older citizens and everything, the ones who grew up. You know, Steve and I know we're dating ourselves a little, but we grew up on the Walter Cronkite eras when it said, and that's the way it is, Tuesday, November. We believed it. The sad part is you still have a culture that it comes on a national news network, Jen, good point, and they actually start, well, gosh, maybe it is true. You know, everyone is not as savvy that keeps up with a lot of stuff, but the average hardworking American citizen, they go home, they click the TV on, and the old school generations are the ones they watch this, and you're like, and I know this is true because I know I'm going to be debating Thursday, Steve, and you will too at the dinner table with our family. Bring it on, we talk, I don't care. So yeah, this is all this is doing, once again, you're right, Jen, is just putting out bad information out there, and it's dividing us when this is a time, especially now, of Thanksgiving and having people come together. Man, they always work my
Bruce,
Why y'all do that to me?
That's right. Well, hey, it's one reason we need to have you on, among many reasons. But Bruce, I think this is important. Jen mentioned that it's not just CNN. MSNBC, of course, is equally guilty, just as are a lot of platforms out there, print, broadcast, et cetera. But here was a particularly egregious clip over the weekend, unfortunately, from Tiffany Cross of MSNBC. Let's have a look.
I find these people disgusting, Ellie. I'm disgusted at what I'm seeing. It's not just this trial, it's other trials. But this in particular, the fact that white supremacists roam the halls of Congress freely and celebrate this little murderous white supremacist, and the fact that he gets to walk the streets freely, it lets you know these people have access to instituting laws. They represent the legislative branch of this country. What are we to make of that?
Bruce, little murderous white supremacists, of course, talking about Kyle Rittenhouse there. By the way, Kyle Rittenhouse, who had to shoot 3 white men, 3 white scumbags who were attacking him, who surely would have taken his life if he didn't take action. Tell me, Bruce, how is it, in what world is Tiffany Cross a sane person to make that statement?
Okay. Watch this, guys. Watch this. Now, remember when Rashida Jones took over MSNBC back in February 2021, first black female ever, blah, blah. It was like, oh, we're going to address racial and diversity and inclusion, and we're going to be fair, and we're going to, are you kidding? Is this what you're getting? To take once again, a top host, well, whatever host, and to let this host go out there. And I've been on her show, and I'm just sitting up here like, look, I can't do your show anymore because I don't want to cuss you out on national TV. Seriously. So I abstain because it's that type of rhetoric that they throw at you. They don't want an interview. They don't want to talk. They don't want to have a dialogue. They just want to spew this hatred and spill it out there and brainwash, as they say, rent space of negative energy. Watch this, Steve. Rent space of negative energy in their viewers' minds so they can get some kind of control and keep them encapsulated in the left. And this is so damaging, Brother Steve and Sister Jenna, especially to the minority community. This right here in itself, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. This is, and listen, here's another thing too. At one point when you're doing all these shows and you're so-called journalists, you have to ask yourself, was this really worth it? I said this in the Oval Office one time. We were up there with Black Voices, and I told those press, and they were doing all this hate stuff with President Trump. I said, what is going to be your legacy? What is it going to be yours that you wrote all this and you inspired and you incited this riot? You incited and egged this on, and you created this racial tension, division because you wanted to sell newspapers.
Yep. I don't know how they sleep at night, Bruce.
What's that?
LeVell, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
You guys always work
nice
my
to
blood
see you.
pressure up. I got to go pump some iron now.
I love it. So great to have you, Bruce.
I got the big green egg going. I'm smoking a turkey. That's right. A turducken for all you Cajuns out there.
Good stuff. So dinner at Bruce's house on Thursday. Noted. We'll be there. See you later, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks.
Thanks.